All right, in this video, we're gonna modify data in Excel. We're gonna see how to sort, filter, and perform conditional formatting in Excel. So for this, we're gonna use top 20 cars data file. So I'm gonna open the data file. Here we have the list of top 20 cars in terms of the sales. In March 2011, they're already sorted based on the sales in March 2011 for a car dealership. And we also have the sales of the same cars during March 2010. So I'm gonna first, before doing any of those items, before sorting, filtering, and conditional formatting, I'm gonna create another column here. So I'm gonna call it percentage change. So we wanna measure the change in sale from 2010 to 2011 in terms of basically in percentage format. So percentage change from 2010 to 2011. And we're just looking at the month of March here. So for the change, so this is, we're just focusing on the first row here for Honda Accord. So for this car, percent change, when you go from value X1, so this is the first one, and then this is the second one. This is the origin, this is the destination, right? So always you take the second value minus the first value and then divide it by the first value. So 2011 minus 2010 divided by 2010. This is how you measure the percent change, right? So the second value minus the first value divided by the first value. That would give you the percent change. Here we have the proportion. So I'm just gonna change it to percentage format. If you just go to Home tab and then percentage, it'll give you the, it'll basically display it in percentage format. You can add some decimals. I mean, 1 or 2, that should be enough. And just to show you the formula that I have here, just gonna quickly type the formula and then I just change the color to red. If I just drag it down, it's gonna calculate the same thing, the percentage change for all these vehicles. I mean, from 2010 to 2011. The last one, this is actually an error because you can't divide a number by 0. So that's mathematically impossible. So for that, I'm just gonna put 0, for example, or nothing. Yeah, just exclude that from our data set. Now, I want to perform some of these basically operations in Excel. So we're gonna start with sorting the data. For any operation that you can think of in Excel, there are always multiple ways that you can perform those. And sorting is like that. There are different ways that you can sort the data file. Here, I want to, this data set is already sorted based on the sales in March 2011, but I'm gonna now sort it based on the percentage change from 2010 to 2011. So for that, I can click on somewhere on my table and then go to data tab. So that's the first way you can do that. And then click on the sort. So when you click on the sort, as you can see, the whole table gets, Excel senses the whole table and selects the whole thing, the whole table. And now you have the option to pick the column I want to sort my table based on, I want to sort the whole table based on the percentage change from 2010 to 2011, and I want to change it in terms of these cell values, but in an I mean, here you pick ascending or descending, largest to smallest. You want to see the ones with the largest increase first. So we'll see this one actually has gone from 0 to 9 or 10,000 almost. So that's probably the largest one. But I mean, if you want to have, you can put 0 if you want to completely, I mean, if you want to exclude it, if you want to put it at the end, you can put 0, or you can put a large number here. But I'm fine personally with what I see here. So as you can see, it's already sorted, largest to smallest. And so that's one way. Let's say if I want to sort it in terms of like alphabetically, if I want to sort it based on the manufacturer and then percent change. So let's say we want to sort it based on 2 factors. I can just go back here, delete level, delete this level, add another level. Let's first sort it based on the manufacturer, A to Z, for example, and then within manufacturer, because sometimes we have the same manufacturer. Let's say we have multiple Toyota, as you can see here, 3 Toyota. We can sort based on the manufacturer, and then add another level for the same manufacturers. Let's sort them based on percentage change from 2010 to 2011, largest to smallest, in a descending order. Okay, Chevrolet, you can see here 75%, 15%, minus 12%. Ford, I mean, this again, this is probably the largest one, 21%, minus 12%, and so on, right? So that's one way to sort. Before I talk about the second way, I'd like to talk about filtering in Excel, and then we take the second way to do it. We just talk about the second. For filtering, you can, what we can do, you can again click somewhere on your table, as long as you have a connected table, there is no missing row or missing column. You just click, go to data tab here, and then click on filter. So you can see once you do that, on top of the, I mean, on the first row of this table, each column get one of these little square here. As you can see, each one of them has one of these drop-down lists. And so that drop-down list gives you a lot of options in terms of formatting. Now, you just need to decide which one of these ones you want to filter. I mean, which one of these columns is going to be your factor for filtering. So you need to make that decision. Second, what filter you're going to apply to your data set. So I'm just going to go back here. So here, I mean, the data is already sorted based on the manufacturer and percent change. So we saw in the sort function, whenever you want to have multiple factors, you just first define the first level and then the second level after that, right? So we define manufacturer and then percent change. But I mean, first let me define one. Let me just go back here, sort largest to smallest, and it will give us what we already had before when we use the sort button here. So that's what we had. I'm just gonna go back to what we just had using the manufacturer and percent change. So for that, if I want to use the filter, I need to always go with the second level first and then the first level. So that's how it's different. So now I already have my second level already sorted. Now if I sort it based on manufacturer A to Z, I'll get again Chevrolet and then percent change, largest to smallest, Ford, largest to smallest, and so on. So this is again, this is the second way you can sort. As you can see, Z to A, and whenever you apply something, the other ones get canceled. Um, and I mean, whenever you're doing filter, you have multiple options here, as you can see. If I just go back here to manufacturer, I can just click here, deselect all, and then only go with, let's say, Nissan and Kia, for example. If I'm only interested in these two types of car, for example, two types of manufacturer, I can just filter that. Or again, let me select all, and then here, this one, the type of this one is text. So I may have some text filter. If I want to have only, if I want to filter only the vehicles that their manufacturer starts with letter T, for example, it's just Toyota. But sometimes that I mean, depending on the case, you may want to. T is not a good example. Let's just go with H here. So if I want to go with text filter begins with H, I expect to have Honda and Hyundai. So you can see here. So that's for text. Same thing applies to numbers, except that it gives you much more option here. So number filter, I'm gonna go with numbers that are, let's say, greater than 0%. So anything that has had a positive percent change from 2010 to 2011, so that you can see here. Anything that was negative, so again, number filter, less than or equal to 0. So only the ones where their sales decreased from 2010 to 2011. So this is how you can play with filter. And whenever you're done with your filter, whenever you want to get back to the original shape of the table, you want to cancel this filter, you can press clear on data tab under the sort and filter group. If you press clear, it'll get back to its normal shape. So that's basically about filtering and sorting in Excel. So there is one last thing here that I want to talk about in this video, and it's conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is when you apply some format, when you define some rule for formatting, and whenever that rule is satisfied, whenever that rule that you define is met, the format is automatically applied to the cell. So here we want to, for example, I want to define, let's say, if you go to Home tab, under Styles group, conditional formatting, there are multiple ways that you can define it. There are multiple predefined rules here. So say we want to highlight the cells that have value, for example, less than 0%. Negative values, if we want to just go with values that are less than 0% or less than 5%, for example, you just set the threshold here and then the color. It gives you a bunch of options, and or if you don't like them, you can just go with a custom format. But so any number below 0, show it with light red fill here. So as you can see, And the nice thing about conditional formatting is that it just formats the cell in a specific way, and it makes it easier to identify the cells without just looking for these specific numbers. So now you can see when you look at this column, you see that there are 4 cars with negative percent change, basically negative or basically decrease from 2010 to 2011, right? And then, like I said, there are multiple ways that you can use the conditional formatting. You can just, I'm just gonna clear the rule first from the selected cells, and then define another conditional formatting, another format, let's say data bar. And this one, the blue data bar, this one, or I mean, this is just a matter of colors, but let's just go with this one. As you can see here, it's, let me also go back here, conditional formatting and manage rules. So here we have the new rules, clear rules, and manage rules. For changing the rule, you can change the basically the format, the threshold, the colors, anything. You just need to play with the details. So if you click on the manage rule, you can, I mean, if you double click on this, you can play with the colors. If there are a lot of options, again, types of, depending on the value, depending on the formula, depending on value of other cells, you may define a format. So you just need to basically play with the colors. I'm just not gonna change anything. That looks good to me, actually. Edit rule and so on, right? Again, so when you look at this, I mean, we're just using the bar with blue for positive numbers, red for negative numbers. As you can see, the lengths of these bars show you show the magnitude of the number, and the color of these bars show the sign of these numbers, right? So it's conditional formatting for making it easier to read the data file without specifically looking at the exact numbers.